it's just astonishing, the display of life and in all the myriad ways that it displays and manifests. But as we were exploring, that there is this other way of seeing it, other way of coming to understand it's the nature of what's appearing. And that is this paradoxical discovery that what appears as something that we can grasp hold of and identify actually is not a thing at all. In that sense, the reality we're encountering is, we could say, very dreamlike, very mirage-like, very very much here. This is the wild, mysterious paradox. Very, the moment is palpably here, what we call the moment, right? I mean, it couldn't be more palpably here. This is here, right? The substance of it. And yet, and it's a big, and yet, at the same time, we can't grasp hold of it. And the central reason for that, and I think the simplest way to come to see that, is to just notice how long the current perception is here for. The world's being perceived, let's say. All the apparent objects, both seemingly external to us and internal to us, appear. They're here palpably, vividly, right? Substantively. But the perception, of course, which is the only way we know anything, is by perceiving it. Just feel now the aliveness of your perceiving, that it's not holding still. And the moment in that sense is, in its aliveness, is in its movement, non-static nature. It is here for no time, right? It's moving. It doesn't stop and go, here I am. Here is the form that we can now identify, name, describe, categorize, and so on, grasp hold of. It's just not like that. Although, because we could say we don't really look, we don't take a moment to stop and look and appreciate this dynamism. We kind of quickly just sort of go past it, and then it seems as if we would sort of string these moments together to create this sense of enduring, the enduring nature of what's here. Right? But it's not really like that. There's no enduring nature to these things we call phenomena. Well, just let yourself feel that. Feel how, if you to try to grab hold of the moment and hold it in place and then say, this is what it is, and then have some sort of, interaction with it or relationship with it, it's just already gone, right? This is just not hiding. The truth of this is not hiding from us. We're experiencing this relentless dynamism. So what, one might say? So it is this way. What's the consequence of seeing that, you could say, or the implications of seeing that, or the benefit of seeing that for us humans we find ourselves being? Well, let me just point to a few things that may be familiar to us. Essentially, what I'm saying is, despite the appearance of there being things, there aren't actually findable, identifiable things. There are no things. There's boundless infinity, we could say. It never becomes something fixed and formed, even though it appears to. So because there's no things, I invite you to just appreciate, feel that there's nothing to control. There aren't things to control. There aren't phenomena to control. So feel that and just relax, realizing there's nothing to control because there aren't things. You see? There's nothing, because there aren't things, because what we think of as things are here for no time. This is the emptiness. There's no things here, even though, again, things are seeming to be here, appearing to be here. There's nothing to micromanage. You ever have that experience of like, I'm going to sort of manage my experience somehow? I'm going to get it to be a certain way. Do I find just the right experience, just the right moment? In a sense, there isn't a moment to micromanage, you see? Feel that. There's nothing here to avoid. There's nothing here, no things here to transform into something presumably better. Oh, here's this thing. It's not quite right. It's not quite enough. Could be better. This moment, I'm going to transform it into a better moment, a better thing, a better experience. From the standpoint of there not being things, there is not something to make better, not something to transform. There's just this. Not a thing to contrive into something better, transform into something better, improve upon it. Again, so there can just be this great relaxation of nothing to control, nothing to micromanage, nothing to transform. Just feel that. And including, of course, what you think of as yourself, because you're also not a thing that needs to be transformed or fixed or controlled. We think of there being things, both events and experiential moments, that we have to protect ourselves against, defend ourselves against, guard ourselves, shield ourselves from their potential threat, right? There's that thing. Again, this can absolutely happen with subject. Oh, there's that fear. I've got to protect myself against it, right? It's not, but it's not a thing. There's not something there. It is truly mirage-like. Our efforts to try to transform or defend against or micromanage all those phenomena, it's like trying to micromanage and control and defend against dream images that aren't actually there, not in the way that we imagine them to be. Because there are not things, because what we think of as phenomena don't endure. In that sense, there's no things here. Can't really say what is here. But it transcends thingness, permanence. And because of that, there is nothing to resolve. Our mind is, you could say, kind of a problem-solving machine. It's good at that. You got something not working quite right in your home or with your body, and the mind goes into problem-solving mode, which is fantastic, and nothing wrong with that. And then from this other perspective, there aren't things to fix. There aren't things to resolve. This is already resolved or unresolvable because it's not a thing to resolve, you see. It's like I'm saying the same thing. But feel that, nothing to resolve, nothing to fix, no problems to overcome. Because again, there aren't things that can be defined as problems. What I'm talking about is not, oh, here's a new way to solve your problems and resolve your problems. It's no, this perspective awakens us to this other vantage, you could say, of there are no problems to solve. There are no things to resolve. because there are no things. There's nothing to overcome, nothing to transcend, nothing to extricate ourselves from. You know, we can imagine we're in like a kind of a cage of, you know, I'm stuck in some cage of my circumstances or my experience or my identity. And there we've defined the problem. And now I'm going to set about to figure out some way to free myself from the cage of my ideas, the cage of my circumstances, the cage of my experience. There is no cage. You see, from this standpoint, there's no cage to free yourself from, nor anyone to be freed from. It's just this limitless expanse of inconceivable, what do we say, being, inconceivable radiance. There's no division to overcome. This is already undivided. I mean, it's really something, you know, to just kind of let this sink in that, you know, you have some experience and that feeling can arise of there's something there in the way, something there blocking me, something there threatening me or potentially threatening me, something there, something there that I've got to figure out a way to navigate around or negotiate around or get beyond, right? The most powerful, I think, this powerful discovery to see that, wow, that obstacle, that barrier that I think is there is has no actual fixed substance to it. It's a shape-shifting flow of, I don't know what it's a flow of. So from this standpoint, there's not someone, you know, sitting in a bubble of experience, sort of making their way around the bubble and trying to figure this out and trying to see what this is and get around this thing possibly and avoid this thing or transcend this thing. Or no, it's just absolute wide open, inconceivable, ungraspable nothingness. But not vacant, because this mirage-like presence of reality is, this is what's so interesting, is that it's full. It's the feeling of the moment, which is so full and just drenched with being and presence and vitality and knowing, and I'm throwing words at it, but fullness is palpable. But of course, it also is mirage like that, in that it's here and can be enjoyed and appreciated, and yet can't be found at the same time because it's gone faster than we could possibly pinpoint it and go, oh, there it is, gone. This is the emptiness dancing as form, but the form is forever empty. and the emptiness forever dances as seemingly something. And yet it's one thing. It's empty, it's not empty. It's just so entirely beyond any way. It's beyond any way we could possibly hold it conceptually, because of this shape-shifting nature of it. The dynamism of it is what makes it beyond the capacity to hold conceptually, right? And hence, there's nothing here we could say but absolute freedom. Freedom from things and all the seeming implications of a world of things. And this, interestingly, this perspective, while it could seem in one sense to negate the world of things and negate the world of experience, it doesn't at the same time. That's a curious thing. Like, here I am, sitting here. Like, I haven't vanished, even though I am wholly vanished. And we each are gone. We're not, in a sense, we are mirage-like. The body is mirage-like. The mind is mirage-like. And yet the mirage is quite vivid, isn't it? In that sense, it's very much here. And we get to dance with the mirages, it would seem. And